It's a terrifying reality. Something that can hang over your head, consuming your thoughts. Depending on how deep you're in, it can take a lifetime to climb out, especially if it's a substantial amount. The pressure is constant, suffocating. It's no wonder people sometimes resort to extreme, even desperate measures to escape. Tragically, this often leads to crossing moral lines, or worse. Today, we dive into a chilling story from Indonesia in the late 1990s, where debt turned deadly. This is the harrowing case of Astini Sumiasih. It was a seemingly ordinary day in Surabaya, Indonesia, February 6, 1996. The bustling neighborhood of Kampung Malang was alive with activity. Residents were participating in a gotong royong, a communal effort to clean the streets and dispose of garbage. Everyone was busy sweeping and gathering trash when a resident stumbled upon something horrifying. Among the piles of garbage lay a group of plastic bags that seemed out of place. They were oddly heavy and emitted a stench far worse than any regular trash. Curiosity and suspicion led the resident to investigate. With trembling hands, they opened one of the bags. Inside was something they never could have imagined, a human head wrapped tightly in plastic. Screams echoed through the streets as shock and terror rippled through the community. The police were summoned immediately. Authorities secured the area and transported the gruesome discovery to Dr. Sutomo Public Hospital. But without any other body parts to examine, identifying the victim proved difficult. The head was preserved, but no autopsy was conducted at the time. The mystery of the severed head quickly spread throughout the neighborhood, leaving families with missing loved ones flocking to the hospital in search of answers. Among them was Agus Panto, who had been searching for his sister, Pujiati, for days. His heart raced as he approached the hospital, dreading the worst. When shown the severed head, his worst fears came true. It was his sister, Pujiati. With the victim identified, police intensified their investigation. Witnesses recalled seeing Pujiati on the day of her disappearance, walking toward the home of her neighbor, Astini Sumiasih. But no one had seen Puji leave Sumiasih's house, and Sumiasih herself had seemingly vanished from the area. The police quickly made their way to Sumiasih's home. When they knocked, she opened the door herself. Initially, the conversation seemed routine. Officers asked about Pujiati's visit without accusing Sumiasih of anything. But then, shockingly, Sumiasih confessed. She admitted not only to killing Pujiati, but also to the murders of 2 other women. What began as an investigation into a single missing person had uncovered a chilling pattern of brutal murders, all connected by one common thread: debt. Astini Sumiasih became infamous in 1996 when she murdered her neighbor in cold blood over an unpaid loan. But what led her to commit these heinous acts? Sumiasih was born on September 22, 1955, in East Java. Her early life was marked by poverty. Her family struggled to make ends meet, and even basic needs were often unmet. Her childhood was harsh. She had an older brother, but their relationship was filled with conflict. This rough upbringing left Sumiasih with deep-seated anger issues and impulsive behavior, traits that would later define her darkest actions. As an adult, Sumiasih worked as a pedicab plastic cover maker, a humble job that helped support her family. She was married to a man named Suan, and together they had 3 children. Despite their hardships, they worked tirelessly to provide for their family. In her community, Sumiasih was known as a helpful neighbor. But behind this helpful exterior simmered a volatile temper. Her neighbors knew to tread carefully around her, as even slight provocations could ignite explosive arguments. Compounding these issues was her troubling habit of borrowing money. She frequently turned to her neighbors for small loans, but she rarely repaid them. As unpaid debts piled up, tensions grew. One of those creditors was Pujiati. She had loaned Sumiasih 20,000 rupiah, a seemingly small amount, but significant in 1996. On that fateful day, Pujiati came to demand repayment. When Sumiasih claimed she couldn't pay, Pujiati insulted her, triggering a furious outburst. In a fit of rage, Sumiasih grabbed an iron pipe and struck Pujiati on the head. The blow was fatal. Overcome with panic, Sumiasih dismembered Pujiati's body, disposing of the parts in plastic bags scattered around Surabaya. The investigation revealed even more horrifying details. Sumiasih confessed to killing 2 other neighbors, both of whom had lent her money. Rahayu, who had loaned her 1.25 million rupiah, was murdered in 1992. Sridi Gunawan, who had loaned her smaller amounts, met the same fate in 1993. Like Pugiati, their bodies were dismembered and discarded, leaving only fragments for authorities to recover. On October 17, 1996, Sumiasih was sentenced to death by the Surabaya District Court. Appeals to higher courts and even a plea for clemency from the president were all denied. On March 20, 2005, Astini Sumiasih faced execution by firing squad. Her final moments were spent urging her children to remain strong and faithful. Even after her death, the horror of her actions lingered. The house where the murders occurred was rumored to be cursed. No one dared occupy the space, especially the kitchen where the dismemberments took place. The case of Astini Sumiasih serves as a haunting reminder of how desperation, financial pressures, and unchecked anger can lead to unimaginable consequences. Let this story be a lesson to us all. May the victims rest in peace, and may the families find healing in time. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.